"You're overreacting," his sister said. "It was just a party." But it wasn't just a party. It was the final straw, after years of silence, sacrifice, and being the family's backup plan. Jonah didn't shout. He didn't argue. He packed his bag, disappeared, and let everything fall apart without him. The microwave hums in the background as Jonah, 33, scrolls mindlessly through his phone, waiting for his leftovers to reheat. It's just another quiet afternoon, until a photo freezes his breath mid-scroll. There it is, his parents' backyard glowing with string lights. Champagne glasses catching the light. Laughter in full bloom. And in the center, Elise, his little sister, smiling like she's home again after years away in New York for med school. Everyone is there. Everyone but him. Jonah stares at the screen. Blinks. Scrolls up, scrolls down. Maybe he missed something. A group chat? A voicemail? Nothing. No invitation. No mention. Not even a vague, guilty text. His stomach knots. The beep of the microwave startles him, but he doesn't move. He just sits there, phone still in hand, pulse rising, silence pressing in. He types a quick message to his cousin Dana. "Hey, was there a party for Elise?" The reply comes fast. Too fast. "Yeah, honestly, I think they just assumed you wouldn't care." Wouldn't care? Jonah's chest tightens. As if love had an expiration date. As if showing up was never expected of him. As if he had become invisible in the place he once called home. He sets the phone down, carefully. Staring into the nothing, the warmth of the room suddenly gone cold. The photo still burns in Jonah's mind, but now it opens a door to memories no one else sees. Flashbacks come like waves. He remembers Elise crying on the phone during her sophomore year, her voice breaking between sobs. They said they'd help, but the rent's due tomorrow. Jonah didn't hesitate. He transferred the money that night. Didn't tell a soul. Then came the student loan interest, the one their parents said they'd handle. Months later, Elise called, panicked again. They hadn't paid. Her credit was tanking. Jonah stayed up late that night, calculating what he could pull from his emergency fund without going under. He paid it. Quietly. And that time she and her fiancé had that huge fight? Elise was shattered. Jonah booked her a flight, told her, "Just go. Be brave." It cost him a chunk of what he'd saved for a down payment on a small condo, something he'd dreamed of for years. But he didn't mind. Back then, the sacrifices didn't feel like losses. They felt like love. No one knew. He never asked them to. Never posted. Never bragged. He just believed, maybe foolishly, that family sees you even when you're silent. Now, that belief feels like a story someone else told him. A beautiful lie. He stares into space, haunted not by what he gave, but by how little it seemed to matter. His thumb hovers over her name in his contacts. He hesitates, just for a second. Then taps call. The phone rings twice. Jonah, her voice is cheerful. Familiar. Like warm tea on a cold day. For a moment, he wants to believe it's all in his head. "Hey." His voice is soft, uncertain. "I saw the pictures. From Elise's party." The pause. Then a dismissive chuckle. "Oh, honey, we just thought you were always so busy with work. You don't really like crowds, remember?" Jonah stares at the floor. The weight of that sentence presses against his chest. His grip on the phone tightens. "I would have made time," he says quietly. His voice shakes, but he keeps it steady. She doesn't acknowledge it. Instead, she continues, light as ever. "Well, you've always been the quiet one. Elise is the star this week." There it is. Simple. Final. The call ends. He sits there, phone still in his hand, not moving. Not breathing. Somewhere inside him, a quiet truth lands like a stone dropped into a well. He wasn't forgotten, he was overlooked. Over and over again. Until it became normal. Until it became easy. He's not angry. Not yet. He's just hollow. Because this is the moment he realizes. He showed up for everyone. But when it was his turn, no one noticed he wasn't even in the room. The restaurant hums softly around them, clinking glasses, quiet chatter, the low rhythm of background music. Jonah stares down at his half-finished plate, swirling his fork through untouched rice. Cam sits across from him, letting the silence stretch, giving Jonah room to breathe. Finally, Jonah speaks, voice heavy but low. I saw the pictures. No one called. Not even a text. It's like, I didn't exist. Cam nods, not surprised, but deeply empathetic. That's rough, man. Jonah lets out a dry laugh. And my mom? She made it sound like I forgot them. He shakes his head, scoffing. I paid Elisa's rent. I cleared her interest when her loans were drowning her. I bought that stupid flight to Chicago so she could fix her relationship. He stops. I wasn't asking for a parade, he adds, quieter now. I just thought they'd see me. Cam finally speaks, voice calm and warm. Maybe they don't realize how much you've done because you never ask for credit. Jonah stares at him for a long moment, then shrugs, half-hearted. I didn't do it for credit. I did it because I thought I mattered. That hits. Cam doesn't say anything. He just looks at Jonah, eyes soft, understanding. No pity, just presence. And in that silence, no excuses, no fixes, Jonah feels something unfamiliar, being heard. The glow of his laptop screen reflects off Jonah's tired eyes as he scrolls mindlessly, half looking for something, anything, to quiet the ache. A banner ad flashes. Last-minute rail journey through the Pacific Northwest. Glass ceilings, forest views, no signal, pure silence. He pauses. Clicks. 2 seats left. He doesn't think. He just books it. Later, in the quiet of his apartment, he moves slowly, folding clothes, checking zippers, unplugging his coffee maker. There's no note. No email. No group text. No one asked where he was going. So he didn't tell them. The suitcase clicks shut. He sits at the edge of his bed, hands resting on his knees. There's a long silence before he whispers, barely audible to himself. This time, maybe they'll notice when I'm gone. He pictures the train, a sleek silver line carving through mountains and mist. He imagines the glass dome above him, trees racing past like old memories, unreachable. A place where no one expects anything, where no one interrupts, where his silence isn't mistaken for indifference, but peace. For once, it's not an act of rebellion. It's not even a cry for help. It's escape. And maybe, finally, a beginning. The train hums softly beneath Jonah's feet as it snakes along the Pacific coast. He sits beneath the curved glass dome, alone but not lonely, a mug of black coffee cupped in both hands. Outside, pines stretch toward the sky, and mist hugs the hills like a memory refusing to let go. He lets the silence fill him. No buzzing phone. No one asking for anything. No one expecting him to give what little he has left. A child in the next car turns and waves at him through the glass. For the first time in days, maybe weeks, Jonah smiles. Not because he's happy, but because no one needs him to be. He allows himself to breathe. To not carry. To simply be. But then, his eyes glaze over as a thought surfaces. Uninvited. Unwelcome. The wedding. Elisa's wedding. He remembers. He had linked the venue deposit, the florist, even the suit rental to a shared card, one his family never touched, never even acknowledged. One he's still paying off. He leans back in his seat, heart quietly sinking. Even now, miles away, no longer reachable, he's still ping. For their joy. For their forgetfulness. For being invisible. He doesn't cry. He just sips the coffee, now bitter and cold, and stares out at the trees, still racing past. And yet, even in this moment of painful clarity, the silence doesn't feel empty. It feels earned. His phone buzzes for the first time in days. Jonah stares at the screen. Elise. I need to talk. Everything's blowing up. No hi. No, how are you? Just panic. He almost puts the phone down. But something, habit maybe, makes him keep reading. Elise spills the truth in a stream of frantic messages. Her fiancé had found the receipts. Credit statements. Dates that didn't match her stories. And then, her silence shattered by confrontation. She told him that Jonah was just a bitter, lonely brother. That he liked feeling needed. That he offered to help. That none of it was her fault. But now, the truth was undeniable. And her fiancé had left. She's alone. Just like Jonah was. I didn't mean for it to get this far, she writes. Can we please talk? Jonah reads the message again. And again. His thumb hovers over the keyboard. He could lash out. He could unload years of buried betrayal in one brutal sentence. But he doesn't. He places the phone face down on the train table, beside the empty coffee cup. Outside, the trees keep passing by. He lets the silence answer her. Because maybe, for the first time, she needs to feel what it's like to be unheard. The family group chat had been silent for weeks. No messages, no calls, no sign of life. But suddenly, as if a dam had burst, the notifications flooded Jonah's phone. His mother's message came first, soft and pleading. Jonah, can we please talk? I'm worried about you. Then his father chimed in, trying to keep things calm but firm. Let's not make this into a drama. We're still family. And then Elise, his sister, typed in with trembling words, I messed up. I'm so sorry, Jonah. I never meant for any of this to happen. Jonah sat there, watching the words appear one after another, feeling like an outsider looking through a glass wall. The glow of the phone screen lit up his face, but inside he felt cold and distant. Where were these voices when he was quietly covering Elise's rent? Where was their love when he stayed up nights, worried about her loans? Where were the hugs when he was invisible on holidays? Now they were frantic, not because they cared for him, but because their perfect family image was cracking. They didn't reach out to him for forgiveness or understanding. They reached out to save themselves, to patch a story they had carefully built for years. Jonah put down his phone. Outside the train window, the Pacific coast stretched endlessly, wild and free. The salty breeze brushed his face. He took a deep breath and let it out slowly, feeling a strange peace settle over him. Because sometimes silence isn't emptiness. It's the place where self-respect blooms. Where the heart learns to heal, not because others say sorry, but because you finally say it to yourself. Back home, the air was thick with tension as Jonah sat across from his family in the living room where so many memories had been made and broken. His mother's eyes narrowed, her voice sharp but shaky. Jonah, you're being passive-aggressive. You always blow things out of proportion. His father folded his arms, frustration etched deeply in his face. You've always made everything about money. It's exhausting. Jonah remained calm. Slowly he unlocked his phone and opened his banking app. With steady hands he swiped through the transaction history. Look at this, he said quietly, showing them a list of transfers, over $38,000, all sent quietly to Elise over the years. This isn't about money, Jonah said, voice steady but heavy. It's about being erased. About being invisible in my own family. Elise's eyes filled with tears. She buried her face in her hands, sobbing softly. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just didn't think you'd care. I thought you were too busy, too distant. Jonah looked at her, the pain in his chest raw but controlled. Because you never asked. You never once asked if I was okay. The room fell silent, each heart beating with the weight of unspoken truths. This was more than money. This was love, lost in silence. Jonah stood up quietly, the weight on his chest finally easing. No shouting. No dramatic farewell. Just a slow, steady breath, and then he turned and walked out the door. Back in his apartment, he sat at his desk and opened his phone. With a trembling hand, he deleted the family credit card linked to Elise's expenses. One by one, he changed all the passwords. The shared accounts, the old emails, the group chats. He left the family group chat silently, like a ghost slipping away. That night, Jonah found himself in a small, quiet park nearby. He sat on a wooden bench, the fading light painting the sky with warm hues of orange and pink. The world was still. No messages buzzing, no voices pulling at him. For the first time in a long while, he didn't feel angry or bitter. He didn't feel hurt or lost. The weight of years of sacrifice and silence was lifting. Maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of his own healing. Jonah closed his eyes, breathing in the calm evening air. The sunset didn't just mark the end of a day, it marked the start of something new. Something hopeful. Jonah's phone buzzed softly in the quiet of his small apartment. He glanced down, surprised to see a message from Clara, Elise's ex-fiancée. You were the only one who ever told me the truth. I should have listened. The words hung heavy in the air. Clara, the one who had left, was finally admitting what Jonah had known all along, the truth buried beneath the family's polished facade. A moment later, another message came from Dana, his cousin. I knew Jonah. I just didn't say anything. I'm sorry. Jonah stared at the screen, the apologies stirring a complex mix of emotions inside him. Hurt, relief, and something else. A quiet forgiveness. He didn't reply. No words were needed. In his own silent way, Jonah forgave them both. Not because they deserved it, but because he needed to free himself from the weight of their mistakes. He put the phone down gently and closed his eyes. The past was a heavy chain, but now he felt it loosen. Maybe forgiveness wasn't about them. Maybe it was about healing himself. A week later, Jonah found himself standing on the rugged cliffs of the Pacific Northwest coast. The sky was a vast canvas of gray and blue, the ocean's endless waves crashing below. No itinerary. No agenda. Just the raw, open world, and finally himself. He ate his meals alone at a small seaside cafe, savoring each bite with a quiet gratitude. He hiked winding trails through dense forests, the scent of pine filling his lungs. The cool breeze whispered stories of freedom and new beginnings. For the first time in years, Jonah breathed without the weight of expectation pressing down on his chest. He wasn't the invisible shadow, the silent provider, or the forgotten brother anymore. He was simply Jonah. Present. Free. His voice came softly as the scene faded into the twilight. They built their lives with me in the background. But I'm not background anymore. The screen went black. The story was no longer about what he lost. It was about what he was finally starting to find. Have you ever felt invisible in your own family? Tell us your story below. We read every single one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Your story matters. Let's speak it.